Hi, welcome to Herbs 101 today on Let's Cook. Now, when we're talking about herbs or herbs, because based on which side of the Atlantic you're from, you might call it an herb or you might call it an herb. Doesn't matter to me because they're so important in the making of food. I have a whole bunch of different herbs here. For instance, in this pot right here that you can buy, and there's a thing called potable herbs too. Those are herbs that you can grow in a pot for your kitchen that you can have the herbs there. So for instance, if I turn this around right here, we take a look at this rosemary right here. So I have some rosemary right here. Now rosemary, this is actually an evergreen. And it's very good with hearty meats like lamb, but it can be used with seafood as well. The rosemary itself actually, it used to grow by the sea, or originated by the sea, and the name was developed as a rose du mer, or rose of the sea. That's one of the historical aspects of rosemary. But I'm actually using rosemary today with a little bit of lamb. Or if you have flat leaf parsley here, see how fragile this is, see how nice this is, and if you snip this off, this is going to be delicious in almost anything you make, very light, subtle flavor. You come over here, have a little bit of thyme. This is some thyme right here that I have right here. Now thyme, if you think of poultry, goes great with poultry, but you can actually use this in sweet desserts as well. It's unique unto itself. It's perfect with mushrooms. So I'm actually doing a mushroom ragu to go with that today. Or if you wanted to use oregano. Now also, I have the oregano here. Well, you know, if you think of pizza, you think of oregano, or you think of marjoram, very similar. Normally botanists, when they talk about different herbs, it's actually the leaves of the plant, not the bark. Now, for instance, this is coriander here. Now, coriander has a unique flavor, right? Everybody knows it if you've had salsa, the cilantro is in the salsa. You either love cilantro or hate cilantro. But the seeds of this are actually coriander. So this produces not only an herb, but a spice, because spices are usually dried. Herbs are much better fresher, even though you can buy them dried already. I stay away from them in their powdered form. Here we have some beautiful dill. Then we have some beautiful curly parsley here. Right in here, I'll just because there are also different varieties. This is rosemary here. Look at this curly parsley. Yeah, let's take a look at this. This is the curly parsley, which I think is great for a garnish, but I don't really like to use it in a dish because I find it to be a little bit bitter. I'd much rather use the flat leaf parsley, which looks like this right here. This is our flat leaf parsley. Right here. Absolutely, this is great to almost finish any dish, or even just make a sauce out of it yourself. Then we have some basil over here. Of course, there are different varieties of basil, or you can have mint here. And there's a lot of different varieties of mint. So the reason I'm doing Herbs 101 today is to say, you know what? Now is the season. You know, spring has sprung. Spring is almost over, summer is starting. Now is when you should be planting your herbs, snipping them as you need them. They'll keep regenerating themselves all through the summer, and you're going to eat much healthier. Things are going to taste much fresher. The one thing that I find with herbs, that if I've made a sauce, for instance, or I've made something that's been in the refrigerator or in the freezer, and I want to bring it back to life, add some fresh herbs to it. Immediately, those volatile oils that are in the leaves are out of this world. As a matter of fact, I had some right over here, some tarragon. Where's my tarragon? Oh, see, I even have a basket over here of herbs as well. Where's my tarragon? Oh, I did have some tarragon. I knew I had some tarragon here. Dana, do we have any tarragon? It's in the fridge? Okay. I have some tarragon here. I need to show you the tarragon because I just love tarragon. And of course, I'm not going to be able to find it, but I know it's in here. Oh, here it is. Oh, I found it. Okay, good. Tarragon. Take a look at this tarragon right here. This tarragon, the way it grows, was originally used for snake bites. because the roots would grow like that of a snake. And this is French tarragon, which is different than Russian tarragon. Russian tarragon is not as refined as the French. Now this particular herb, for instance, if I'm using tarragon, I will barely cut it at all, just pull it off and use it almost like this, because the oils, it's such a fragile herb. Whereas parsley, flat leaf parsley, you can chop. Basil, you might want to chiffonade it because, again, it's a fragile herb. So we're just doing Herbs 101 today on Let's Cook. I'm very excited about it. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, I'm going to make this delicious pan-seared lamb chop with a rosemary sauce for Herbs 101 today on Let's Cook. Don't go anywhere, please. We will be right back. Hi, welcome back to Herbs 101 today on Let's Cook. Now, we're going to make something with rosemary. I have the rosemary right here, see, and it's really an evergreen. And this I don't really ever cut too finely, unless I'm making something like with, let's say, where it's ground or a lamb marinade or something like that. I might cut it very finely. But when you take this off, the easiest way to pull this off is to hold it at the end that would be closest to the sky. Hold your finger here, and you just grab this and you just pull it down. And you see how the woody stem, you get rid of the woody stem, and you have the beautiful rosemary right there. So I have some rosemary right there that I'm using in the sauce here. Now the next thing is we have a beautiful double lamb chop right here. Take a look at this lamb chop. Out of this world. See the great color. First of all, we're going to look at the color and the marbling that is in the lamb. I left a little bit of the fat cap off here, and then right here I'm actually going to French this chop. But you see that great scarlet color that's in there in the lamb? Oh, absolutely out of this world. Now to clean this up, all I'm going to do is I'm going to French the chop, which means I'm going to make a cut here. I'm going to come across the backbone, the back of the rib bone right here, turn it around right below this eye right here. You see where the eye is right there? Right below that. I'm going to bring it here, so I've come all the way across. And with my knife, I'll take off most of the fat that's right here. Next, I'll take the tip of my knife where the bone is right here, and I'm just going to take the knife and run it down the bone. By doing that, what I've done is I've now allowed myself to remove that meat. Holding and supporting the lamb chop, I'm just going to take this and bring my finger in between, and you notice how nice and clean the meat comes off the bone here. You need to do this with a towel though, but you see how nice and clean the bone comes? Much easier than trying to cut it away. Then, very simply, we take this with our knife right here, just cut this, and I'll save these scraps that I get off, and I'll use this to actually flavor my sauce as well. I'm going to just pop that in a pan right now too. Let that start to brown up, because that's going to give some real nice flavor to my lamb chop. So next we have to sear this. When we go to sear this, take a little bit of salt here, and I'm going to do this on all sides with the salt and the pepper. Because I left a little bit of the fat cap on right here, this is going to be my first side going down in the pan. So I'll just start this right here, and I'm going to render a little bit of that fat there. Let that start to sear off. You would take this and you're going to sear this off till it's really well browned on all sides, rendering out that fat. See, it's not brown enough yet. We really need to render that, get that color out of there. So you sear it off on all sides. Let me just get this out of the way here, because I already have one done that's in the oven. Because it's a double lamb chop, I had to sear it off and then finish cooking it in the oven. So I'll bring this over here, and you can see exactly what it looks like now. See the great color that we have there on this? Beautiful, absolutely out of this world. Now, to make the sauce, we'll remove our chop from the pan right here. I'm not going to worry about anything that's in the bottom pan. That's good flavor there. To this now, I'm going to put in 1 pat of butter, and I'm going to put some shallots into the pan. Along with the shallots now, I'm also going to put a little bit of this rosemary right in the pan there. Now, if you have a pan that has a handle like this, a metal handle that can go in the oven, make sure when you use it to cook in the oven, when you take it out of the oven, use a side towel with it. And if you have young children, make sure that you do not leave it sticking up from the stove where they could even touch it just to see what's in there. It's extremely dangerous. You want to be careful with that. We're going to put this on a very high heat to the pan now. To flavor this, I'm going to hit it with a little bit of red wine there. Now it's also, when they showed the recipe, it's also optional to put a little bit of brandy or cognac in this too, to flame it, but you really don't need to. Now we're going to cook that wine down now with the rosemary, with the shallots, till it's totally dry. Once this is nice and dry like this, I'll take a little bit of the brown stock that I have right there, and I'm just going to let this come up and cook down just a little bit. What's happened now is my lamb, while I'm making the sauce, has rested. This is good to go. It's not, if I press into it, it's nice and medium rare. The juices aren't going to run away from it at all. It's going to be perfect. So now I'm almost ready to finish my sauce here. To finish the sauce, and you don't always have to do this, and you don't have to strain it. If you want it to be a little less refined, you really don't have to strain it. But what you should really do is then take your sauce now. You've gotten all the goodness out of there, and strain your sauce away. Now you'll notice for this lamb chop, I'm just making enough sauce for one little chop, or one double chop. So I strain all of that away to have all that flavor. To this now, we're going to add a little bit of butter. What the butter is going to do is the butter is going to enrich the sauce, and it's also going to give it a great shine. See how it's getting a shine? Can we get a shot in there? Just till the butter melts. Oh, out of this world. Take my sauce now. My sauce is good to go. We take our sauce, set our sauce up right on the plate there. Oh, ever so lovely. Take our beautiful lamb chop right there. And then, of course, since it has that wonderful rosemary flavor, and I'm not necessarily a proponent of this, I'll put a little piece of rosemary there as well. Now we have a wonderful pan-seared lamb chop with a delicious rosemary sauce. Let's take a little break. And then when we come back, I have a mushroom ragu that's out of this world. Don't go anywhere. We're definitely it's Herbs 101 today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, and there you're looking at the mushroom ragu that we're making today on Let's Cook, where we're doing Herbs 101. Now, to make that mushroom ragu we just showed you, I've heated my pan here with a little bit of oil. I'm going to start with just a little bit of shallot in the pan. We're going to start to sweat them off. Then we're going to take some shiitake mushrooms right here. You can use common mushrooms too. I'm going to get these shiitake mushrooms in there. So I'll just take these shiitake mushrooms. I'll add them right to the shallots here. Season this with just a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Now, to really bring out the flavor of the mushroom, and I'm doing this a little premature, I'm going to put a little brandy in here, or cognac. We're going to catch that on fire. Be careful when you do that at home. We're going to let that cook out a little bit. Once that cooks out, a little bit of white wine. Now, so we actually deglaze this twice, with the white wine and with the brandy. Now we'll take this, stir this around now a little bit. The mushrooms have softened. Here's the trick now. Now we take a little bit of thyme. I have some fresh thyme here that I just took it off the stems and finally chopped it. I'll show you what that looks like, because you don't even, I could have even just taken a thyme sprig just like this and dropped it right in there, which I'll do because you can just pull that out when it's totally done. To this now, I'm going to add a little bit of vegetable or chicken stock and a little bit of heavy cream. All we're going to do now is cook this down just till this tightens up, and then make sure it's well seasoned. Thyme. See this herb right here? The thyme. I have some right here too, because so I need to show you the difference here. See, this is thyme, and this is thyme. This is still, look at how much fresher this is, even coming out of the basket. So if you want to do the potable herbs in your backyard, it's a really good idea. This now cooks down just till it's dry, just till the liquid's almost dry and we really develop the flavor of the mushrooms. And look at right here where we can just go in, right here, and see how I can extract the flavor of the thyme and then just remove the stem right here, and I don't have to worry about it, so I don't even have to pick that off. based on whatever herb you're doing. Sometimes it might be a little woodier, the stem, so you have to remove it from it. Sometimes it's very soft. You don't have to worry about that. Let's go ahead and remove this now because this is almost done. Then we would just take this, taste it for seasoning, of course. Need that heavy cream to reduce down. Thyme and mushrooms. It's almost like the Tom and Jerry of cuisine. Let's take a little break, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you what Finn's herbs are, or fine herbs, however you like to say it. Don't go anywhere. It's Herbs 101 today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, you know, the term Finn's herbs or fine herbs, it's F-I-N-E-S-H-E-R-B-S. The correct way to say it is, or classically, Finn's herbs. But we always say fine herbs. Doesn't matter to me how you say it, but it's important that you know what basically, or traditionally, historically, classically, however you'd like to put it, goes into it. And I have them right here. I have some chervil right here, part of the parsley family, but much more subtle in flavor. See how small the leaves are? I have some flat leaf parsley here. I have some tarragon and chives. That is classically what would go in your herb mixture. However, if you wanted to use thyme, that's fine. If you wanted to use basil, that's fine. If you wanted to use dill, that's fine. It's really basically now what is available. And it was from Britain that they started to make eggs or omelets using Finn herbs. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to make a nice Finn herb omelet. The first thing I'm doing right here is I'm just going to cut up a little bit of some shallot here, and I'm going to use this shallot to flavor this omelet. If you wanted, you could also use an onion too. So we'll just take a little bit of shallot here, and I'm going to finely mince this. Very fine. And normally, you would not even, in this dish, you wouldn't even use a shallot, but I like a little bit of shallot in it. So I'll take my shallot. I'm going to turn my pan on here, and I'm just going to saute the shallot here just a little bit in a pan with a little bit of butter. Then I'm going to take one. I'll make this a nice 2-egg omelet. So we'll take our eggs here, 1, 2, and now hopefully when I make this omelet I won't have any color in it. No shell in the eggs. We'll take our eggs. We season these with a little bit of, not black pepper, but a little bit of white pepper and a little bit of salt. Just going to beat these up. Get them really well beaten. Only eggs, salt and pepper. That's all that's going into my omelet here. Now notice here, my shallots now are nice, are really sauteing nicely. Now I'm going to take the eggs and just drop them into the shallots. We don't really want any color in this omelet, but we do need to allow it to set up. So I'm just going to leave this alone like that, and then I'm going to get my herbs ready. To get the herbs ready, and you can actually cut these all together. Take my chervil here with no stems, my tarragon too, and my parsley. Make a nice tight pile of this, and just finely chop this. This is going to give my omelet terrific flavor. Now let's take a look at our omelet here because I think we're ready to get a little bit of action going here. Yes, we are. There we are. Good. Okay, great. Beautiful. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit now because we really don't want any browning. We'll take this, make sure it's nice and firm. You can also finish these in the oven too. Also, any of the egg that's scraping on the side there. I'm going to take this now. We're going to flip this over like this. Then we take our herbs, we put our herbs right in the middle of the omelet. Then we're going to fold our omelet over. So I'm just going to fold it over this way. Then I'm going to bring it over here to the plate with the herbs in the middle. I'm going to fold it that way. Don't want any color on that omelet. Then, if you really want to make this nice, and we do want to make it nice, I'm going to bring the plate right up over here. I'm going to take my plate now. I'm going to cut a little sliver with my knife right here in the middle. Just a little sliver, just exposing that. Then we take just a little bit of butter and we rub it on the outside of the, just there, so that it's nicely exposed. See how we get that great shine to the omelet? You can see the herbs coming through. And then last but not least, Of course, sprinkle a few herbs on top if you want to. You really don't need to. And here we have a delicious thin herb omelet. Herbs are very important, not only historically medicinally, but especially for flavor, and they're available now year-round, but you can grow your own as well. Don't forget to use thin herbs, fresh herbs, right before they're at their peak, which means at the end of the dish they go in, they're going to bring out all the flavor. Thank you for watching Herbs 101 today on Let's Cook. You have a great day, and we'll see you thin herbs.